Hey everybody, it's Michelle LaVore coming at ya today. I'm actually going to be stepping in for Devin tonight. He is having a lot of sinus allergy type stuff going on, but so I'm going to be sharing what he wanted to share tonight. But before I begin to do that, I wanted just to give a huge thank you to everyone who continues to give and has given to us. It's just truly amazing to see how God continually provides for all of our needs. And we are support-based, so if you would like to give, you can. There is a PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo all below, and you can click any of those and give there. So, as the title of this video and the thumbnail is showing, is this hill with all these rolls. And so this is actually going to be a continuation of the vision that Devin shared yesterday. And basically he had this vision where this, there's this stone that's on this hill, and then God comes and gives it a push, and it starts to just pick up momentum and goes down the hill. But as it starts to reach the bottom, it begins to just dissolve, but it turns into bread. And then it just becomes a ton of bread all over the place. And people started to come and take from the bread, gather the bread that was there. But it wasn't a ton of people, but there were those that came and gathered, which kind of makes you think of like the many and the few as far as that part of the vision. And even in other visions that we've had, it's those who have waited, those who have continued to press into the Lord, who have continued to journey with him. Those are going to be the ones that partake in what he's doing. But I love this imagery. And so, of course, Jesus, he does represent the rock, the stone that the builders rejected. And it's almost like he's going forward, rolling, and he becomes these rolls, which of course is the bread. And he even said, "This is my body that's broken for you," when he took the bread and he broke it. And of course, the symbol of bread is all throughout scripture. But also, I thought it was just so cool that it turned into bread, because Devin was talking about the feeding of the 5,000 and how it was, 5 loaves and 2 fish. And of course, then, he gave out bread for everybody, and it was this huge miracle. But one of the things that I was gathering from the vision that he had was when he was explaining it and just talking about this stone rolling and becoming bread, it made me think about Gideon. And, it's the story where it's in Judges chapter 7, and Gideon, they have this massive enemy army coming against them. And he has his people, and God whittles it down to 300 men that he wants to have go up against the army. But at night, the Lord told Gideon, "Hey, go down to the camp, hit the enemy camp, and just listen, because I'm going to give you a sign that, yes, you are going to overtake the enemy." And he goes down and overhears one of the Midianites talking. It's basically saying, "I had this dream that this barley loaf comes down and basically flattens the tent." And so it's like this barley loaf, it's basically bread that comes and it tramples over the tents. And then the other guy he's talking to is basically like, "Oh, well, that basically means it's the sword of Gideon, and God's given us into his hands." And so then that night when they go and fight, they end up being able to come against all of their enemies. And it was just this idea of like, wow, here's this dream about a barley loaf and bread, and look at the great, as the sign of this great victory and great outcome. And so I think it's just, all of it is very interesting, because it's, talking with the feeding of the 5,000, and even with Gideon, it's something that was very small. God used something small to do a great victory. And one was feeding all of these people, but the other was winning against an army that was just so numerous. It was like the sand on the shore. I mean, just so many of them. But God worked in an unusual way and created a great victory for his people. And it's like, that's what God is going to be doing for us. And he's going to be working this great miracle and probably working in a way we wouldn't expect him. It's like, Lord, how is this possible? Because even with Gideon, they didn't go to battle with their swords. They went to battle with fire under clay pots and horns and blasting a sound and crashing pots and yelling and shouting. And it's like, wow, that's how you won the battle. And so it's like God can do things like that in our lives, where it's like it's not the normal way. It's not the way that you would think that you would win a battle, particularly if you have 300 going up against a sea of people, or you have 5 loaves and 2 fish, and you're going to go feed 5,000 plus, because that was just the men, not including the women and children in that count. And so it just is truly amazing. Well, I think that's all that I have to share on behalf of Devin today. And I do pray that you guys are blessed and that you are really encouraged by what God is doing and how he's moving. And he's moving on behalf of his people. And so I just pray that all of you continually just are refreshed with the Lord, and that you are seeing mighty victories on your behalf from God, and that you'll continue to see that as you continue to press in, moving forward in him. So until next time, guys, I will see you later, and so will Devin. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.